Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey. I am Diana Popa, business coach, and today my special guest is Archana Palmer. Archana is an executive communication coach, business English trainer, an author, and a public speaker with 10 years of experience in the training and coaching industry. She has trained corporates across industries in India. In the 2 recent years, she has coached 50 plus emerging leaders from across the world at different hierarchy levels, including senior leadership in operations, finance, sales, and marketing. She has authored a book titled Business English and Leadership Communication for the emerging leaders, and the book is a step-by-step guide to becoming an effective communicator. This is very impressive bio. Thank you so much, Archana, for being today with me.
Yeah, thank you, Diana, for having me over here. Yeah.
Tell us more about your story and how you started on this path of helping other people, training and coaching.
Right. So that's a very interesting question to begin with. And talking about my story, I love talking about myself because it is only through my story that I learn about myself, and I also learn to connect with people. Right. So coming from a traditional middle Indian family, I was brought up more like a people pleaser, right? Wherein we were supposed to do this. There's a there's set framework that you receive as soon as you are born, that you are supposed to be liked by everyone. That's my 4-year-old giving some background music. So you're supposed to be liked by everyone. This is how good girls behave. This is how this. But over a period of time, I realized those values, the things that were passed on to me, were not actually getting in sync with my DNA, I would say, right? With the kind of internal structure that I'm born with. I tried my best to learn, and every time there was this fear of being judged. There was this fear of being wrong. What if somebody does not agree to what I'm trying to say, right? So I got into this extremely passive mode wherein, okay, you decide, you take the call. Just to realize that it isn't helping me. So I went to the extreme end. I ended up being into the aggressive person. Again, that did not help me. In a way, I detached myself with the people around me. But then, as I told you in the beginning also, we cannot survive as an island. I had to find the midway through, and that is when I ended up learning about assertive communication. It was quite a struggle wherein you have been through all the phases here and there, and then you are trying to find a midway for you. But I'm glad that I did, because ever since I've got into this assertive communication, world has become a nice place, I would say.
I love that. Thank you so much, Archana, for sharing that with us. Tell us more about how can we actually become better communicators, whether we are in a leadership position or whether we are on stage, for example, as a trainer or as a coach.
Right. So, Gian, I would suggest you to start with knowing what is the intention. How do you want to be perceived as? Again, in our growing age, we are influenced by very many people. Our immediate influences are our parents, our immediate family members. But they don't look at us as an individual. They look at us as your family members. You don't really get to have your own identity to begin with. And that is the reason that people struggle. As soon as they step out of the comfort zone, their immediate network, they step out in the professional world, they struggle here because they have brought up in one particular manner, and today they are expected to do something very differently. So the idea here is to be clear as to how do you want to be seen as. Until and unless you are clear of the end goal, you will not be able to carve your path for yourself. So in my case, I was clueless. I was again trying to fit in all those different categories that I was told about. And I just realized that I was not made to fit into any of those things, right? So the idea here is work on how do I want to be seen as? What is the end goal that I want to achieve as an individual, as a corporate, as a professional, whatever you name it, right? Once you are clear with the end goal, you can always reverse engineer the process. In my case, I love talking about communication. You give me a topic, I can talk for consecutive 3 hours. You don't give me a topic, I can talk 24 hours. Right? So the idea here is identify what are you passionate about, right? And how is it going to help people? Because at the end, that is what matters. I won't be listening to you if you are not able to add any value to me. right? So the whole process is, again, the communication itself is selling your thoughts, your ideas, your product, your services, your ideas, all in all, but your thought process. So that is where communication plays a very important role, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Archana. And I love what you mentioned, that we need to be aware of the end goal and what we want to transmit to our audience and to those who are listening to us. And in this respect, I found it very, very important, because I know that we can say something with a certain intention, but then the way it comes across is totally different. Like, for example, as you mentioned at the beginning, maybe we don't want to be aggressive, or maybe we don't want to be judged. And then we speak up, and this is exactly what's happening. We are either perceived as aggressive, or maybe we think we are judged, so we are going to be judged. How does all of this work, and what can we actually say to ourselves before doing this step into speaking up, into saying what we want to say, and speaking our ideas?
Sure. So here, the first step is accept that you are not perfect. Accept what are the things that you lack, because the biggest problem is that we are not even aware of the problem that we actually have, and we cannot be aware of it until and unless I am ready to accept that there is some scope for improvement. We reject this. We reject the whole concept of me not knowing something, because I have a fear of being judged. I have a fear of being rejected. So the idea here is give yourself permission. Acceptance, right? So acceptance is the very first thing that you need to do. Once you have accepted this, things automatically start falling in place. Having said that, I would also like to add in here, you cannot not communicate. No matter if you open your mouth or you don't, you simply cannot not communicate. So be mindful of your body language as well. Very many times, this is what I have observed in my one-on-one coaching sessions also. They say, this was not my intention, but then your tone had that intention. Your words were pretty much innocent, but it was the tone that was the culprit here, right? And people don't consider these things to be part of their communication. For them, communication is only the flow of words. But again, it's I as an individual, I'm structuring my thoughts, I'm encoding a message, I'm sending it through different medias, and you as a recipient, you are decoding that message. Once you decode it, you are sending it back to me in terms of your confirmation whether you have received it right or not. So when I'm sending this message to you, I have to be mindful of all the mediums that I'm using. If it is only through words, if it would have been a voice call, let's say I shut the camera off for a while. If it would have been this way, you cannot see my facial expressions, you cannot see my body language. Every emotion that I'm communicating to you at this moment is through the quality of my voice, the intonation, the pitch, the rate of speech. I have to be mindful of all these things. On the other hand, if we have access to the video camera or the face-to-face conversation, I can support my words with my facial expressions, with my gestures.
I love that. Thank you so much, Archana. And this is a very, very good example what you just did, because for me, it's always very challenging to connect with people if I don't see them. If I don't see their expressions, I only hear their voice. That's not enough for me. It's like something is missing, and it's very difficult to make this energy exchange with them and to really be authentic and really be embracing. What is happening there? What do you think that what is the role that our body language plays, and how can we take control over it?
Be mindful. Be mindful. Again, it all boils down to being mindful of your own presence. What is the image that you want to project out there? If at this moment I want to sound as an authority, the mindset is there. So whatever question you ask me, the focus is there. Okay, that is how I want to be perceived as. Automatically, my body language will support me in there. But again, it is something like, if I can do this, I'll choose the first option. If I'm not good at it, if I'm not good with my words, I'll work on the non-verbal cues in order to support my verbal communication. If I feel my voice is not powerful enough to build that relationship with you, I'll put on a smiling face, and it has to be a genuine smile, right? There is no harm in smiling at anyone. right? We can always smile. It shows you that you are human, right? So, but whenever you show your smile to someone, what you get in return is again an equally beautiful smile. So that is the very first instant that helps you in connecting with people. Of course, there are situations where you simply cannot afford to smile. There are certain situations wherein you have to show that you are not happy with the kind of things that are going on around. Again, make sure your body language supports you here. You cannot say, I am very angry with you today. No, yes. I'm not doing it right way. Again, it takes a lot of mindfulness and practice here. I'll get back to the same point again. How do you want to be perceived as, right?
I love that. Thank you so much, Archana. And actually, this reminds me of a situation I encountered myself in the corporate world, because I used to be very happy and I used to smile a lot. And this was not necessarily well perceived in certain situations, exactly what you mentioned. If I was in a very serious meeting where I had to give a strong message, and if I would smile, this was not really coming across as being serious and being a professional. And I got this feedback that I should stop smiling. Actually, I shouldn't be so happy all the time. And indeed, I changed and I adapted to the environment and the requirements of that environment. And my question would be for you, how do we do this switch actually? If our environment has different expectations than who we are, who is our nature, how do we do that switch? Because we are not going to be aligned anymore. And what's happening if we are not aligned?
Again, the idea of being aligned differs from person to person, depending on what are your end goal from that job, right? If it is something that you cannot simply afford to let go, of course, you need to bend yourself a little bit here. But when I say that, there are other ways also. For example, people can work on their persuasion skills. People can work on their influencing skills. That way, I may not be a very straight-faced looking leader here, but there are certain other ways where I can tell them, I'm not smiling all the day, but there are certain other gestures that I'm making myself available to my team members, right? So I am using those power words, which words carry vibrations, right? They change the destiny for you. So you use those power words mindfully, wherein they help you, one, establish yourself as an authority. Second, it helps you sound approachable to your team members. Because again, for a healthy team to work together, you need to be connected with each other. Smile helps you in softening all the rough edges, though. At the same time, there are other ways also, and working on your influencing skills, working on the law of reciprocity, where you are available, making yourself available to them, you are coming up with genuine feedback, you are coming up with timely check on with your team members, how's everything going, are other ways that can help you in complementing all these things.
Thank you so much, Archana, for sharing this knowledge with us and for teaching us. I would like to ask you, because you mentioned about influencing and negotiation. Mm-hmm. How can we actually influence other people, whether this is the right word, or how can we negotiate in certain circumstances to obtain what we want, or to identify what's happening in the room and how to improve that?
Mm-hmm. Coming back to the influencing part, again, it starts with what is the end goal here, right? If I am connecting with you, what is my intention over here? Right? So accordingly, I'll see if this person needs my feedback. I'll be genuine in providing feedback to this person. Then once I have provided feedback to you, it's not done and dusted then and there. I should come back to you and check if you are able to follow the feedback, if you are able to understand it once, right? If you are, well and good, we can devise a plan here. We can devise the whole step-by-step process, how actually it can help you. What people generally do is they give you the feedback, especially during the appraisal times. They give you the feedback and the files are closed, only to be reopened in the next year. But what they actually should be doing here is you give the feedback to one person and you keep a timely follow-up on this, if this person is actually working on those things. If he's facing any difficulties, I am the person to be contacted, and I'll help you in I'll providing you hand holding there. Because again, the idea is to add value. How can I help you become a better person? Yeah. So that is one thing. Apart from that, there are other things that you can do. If the person needs some kind of recommendations from you, sure, you can do that. Coming to the negotiation part, again, negotiation in terms of people, there was a time when there used to be this hardcore negotiation, right? Whether you do it or you don't. But now we have got into this open discussion where we have come to the concept of negotiating expectations. So what are you expecting from me? This are your expectations. If I would be able to deliver all of them. If yes, there's nothing like it. But if no, then what are the things? If I'm saying yes to your expectations, what am I saying no to? Is it worth saying no to 3 different things to say yes to 5 different things? If it makes sense, go ahead. If it not, you need to go back to your basics once again.
I love that. Thank you, Archana. And I learned in one of the trainings that we should never split the difference because people need different things. And we should not assume what people need because just we think that we have to split 50-50 because maybe this is not going to work for them. Maybe 30-70 is going to be a very well situation for both of them. What do you think about this? Do you think that we should adjust to our environment? You mentioned the follow-up that we need to go back and see what the person needs. How do we adjust and how do we incorporate people's needs into our own thinking?
That's an interesting question. You got me thinking. So, I'll put it in a way wherein work together. Again, I would suggest to go for the collaborative working here. Again, I cannot be an island. You cannot survive as an island. So what is the point where our paths are intersecting and what is the way forward for both of us? If we still are meant to be together, of course, it's going to be holding hands and we are walking together. If it is not, so at least we can guide the other person to the exact source where this person can reach out. Today, technology has provided us fantastic opportunity where we can connect with anyone and everyone, right? Irrespective of the designation, irrespective of the profile, every individual is available online, right? On one platform or the other. If you find yourself stuck somewhere, reach out, get into the micro mentoring program. Now, micro mentoring is just you find someone in a position where you want to be, get in touch with this person, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, whatever platform you find this person, sneak into their DMs, drop a message if they can spend 10 minutes with you, right? So in those 10 minutes, be ready with the questions. This is my concerns. If whatever this person shares, actually try and work on those things. If it works, do get back to this person, let them know that they help you immensely. That is how we again continue with this process of adding value to each other. I hope that I answered that question right.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Archana. Thank you once again for being here with me and for giving us so much value. And I would like to ask you next, if you can give us some examples of, I don't know if I can call them mistakes, of the leadership role of those who are in a leadership role, and what are their struggles nowadays? If you encounter in your experience by working with them, what was the main thing that keeps coming back?
Pandemic has taught me one thing, that is when we work together, when everything switched online, the biggest confusion, the biggest problem that people face was connecting with each other. Leaders were not habitual to meet their team members all here simultaneously. At the same time, even the team members realized that their leader is right there in one of the faces that they can see on the small icons there. Here, what I found was leaders were not approachable enough to the team members, and team members were way pushed beyond, right? So there was this big thick barrier between these two. So maybe dropping the guards down is something that can surely help them. Leaders can work on engaging with their team members outside the work zone as well. Because at the end, your team, your employees or your team members, they will feel appreciated if you connect with them. right? So in my book also, I have mentioned these acronyms here that starts with FORM, FORM. You start talking about family. Everybody has a family. Everybody can talk about the family. You talk about the organization where they are working. If they are a student, ask them where are they studying, what are their future plans. Recreation, R stands for recreation. Ask them about various activities that they get into. And M is money. Not specifically you discuss money, but topics around money. You talk about the inflation, you talk about things getting expensive day by day. So find these common grounds that can help you that can help you in merging in the crowd, because gone are the days where leadership used to be, that up to down level. It has changed the dynamics. Leaders are they're supposed to be a part of us in the same community. And that's something I find people in leadership position, they struggle connecting with, because they are habitual to being authoritative. So today they have to be authoritative, at the same time they have to be receptive. So so engaging with your employees in an informal setup is something that surely is the need of the day, I would say, need of the hour.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Archana. And I actually find it even more powerful if you have a certain connection and then at some point you need to be authoritative. You can ask that person, because that person is going to know that this comes from a place of kindness and place of love, and is nothing against that person. Just do this task because I am saying so. Thank you so much, Archana, once again for being today with us. I would like to close our interview today by asking you, who are you serving and how can people contact you?
I am helping people in breaking the communication barriers. So at this moment, I'm exclusively dealing with leadership communication, and I can always contact it. I can share my LinkedIn profile with you. My website is archanaparmar.com. They can write to me at archana@archanaparmar.com. At this moment, I'm working on launching my group coaching program, again, the live program on assertive communication. So if the audience is there who's struggling in saying no to others, they can say yes to me.
I love that. That's a very good marketing message. Thank you so much, Archana, I am honored to have you here, and for all the valuable information you share with us and life lessons, because this is really essential for us to grow in these aspects. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Diane, for having me over here. It was lovely meeting you, lovely interacting with you. Yeah.
And for those of you listening to us, stay connected, because there is so much more to come.